we've got what looks quite simple sort of set of things here. Do you want to sort of go through them and
Hopefully this will be better than what the Romans used to eat.
explain? It looks like bread.
Absolutely, yes. Bread was actually a distinguisher of status in the Middle Ages, and
Right.
this is a lower-end bread. It's made with barley flour and with rye.
It's a brown colour, which sort of in our era sort of is posh bread, isn't
Absolutely,
it?
it's entirely the opposite way around.
Right.
In the Middle Ages, the browner your bread, the poorer you were.
Right, interesting. That's rather lovely. I like that.
I can think of something else that applies to.
Probably paid more at the supermarket for
Absolutely.
it. But back then,
But back then, this is the food of the peasant, because there's more effort that goes into producing white flour.
Right,
White
I
flour
see.
is just brown flour that's been sieved and all the goodness taken out of it.
right, okay. So bread, and this
We have ale in the cup.
fantastic. So you could drink booze at at meals or
Yes, most people drank beer. There is a popular
That's all you used to drink. You wouldn't drink the water because it'd go stale.
misconception that nobody drank water in the Middle Ages. This is not actually true. If you had a good source of water, you would drink water. If you didn't, you would drink...
Yeah, traveling and shit, you couldn't get a good source of
We need to capture and hold the objective. Guns up. Let's go.
booze on the road.
beer, and you're not suffering from beer in the Ages outside.
Confirming coordinated attack order.
did it vary hugely? Didn't
It was very regional. It would depend on the quality of your barley and the hops.
I also noticed you had fish there, and that looks like salmon to me. Chunky steaks of salmon.
It is indeed salmon. Yes, salmon in the Middle Ages was peasant food because it was freely available in rivers.
So yet again,
Yep.
a kind of reversal of what we expect. So salmon today is very expensive. It's probably quite expensive chunks of salmon. And we have brown bread, we have booze, beer.
Isn't that sad, dude? We used to live in fucking paradise. You know, all the expensive shit that we have today was just bountiful back in, the olden days.
And we've got salmon, so that's actually quite a...
You have an attack order set.
Shekels per Goyim must go up.
quite a hearty meal.
It's quite nice, yes.
And you've got some little bit of greenery and things here. What are you going to do with
well,
this?
look at
The enemy
This
is
is still hard
secured
work, and you're going to have
Charlie.
to earn your supper. This is actually sorrel, which I picked from the garden yesterday.
Right.
And we're going to grind it.
We're attacking Charlie.
And we're going to grind it.
Yes.
And then we're going to strain it through the sweet natural sorrel sauce.
Sorrel
From
sauce.
an absolute, genuine medieval recipe.
You had to work for your food in medieval times. We've gone back to basic ingredients. You know, fish from the river, bread, a lot more effort gone into making bread, and you've got me pounding vegetables from the garden.
I also have
This is unironically healthier than 99% of people eat today.
cooking away on the fire a peas pottage. Pottage is anything that's cooked in a pot.
Right, so you're really describing what you're doing, not
Yes.
frying, so it's potting it.
So
And peas, as in peas.
peas, garden peas with some
Mixed with anything, or?
with some stock and some herbs. It's
Brilliant.
basically medieval mushy peas.
Right, fantastic. And you're cooking on, it's not an open fire as such, it's not really flames.
No, it's charcoal. One of the things that you don't want to be doing if you're cooking over wood is having a blazing fire because it's
Action
So again,
coordinated
when you
on
see it on
marked
TV, you see
objective.
Rory fire a pot over it. It's in fact deadly wrong, you burn yourself and it's not very hot. That's good, you're cooking very efficient.
It is remarkably quick. It's not using marble.
Right.
So you've got your hot oven and your cooler oven and you move things about and you to do with them.
So arguably, most people in nice country houses with farms are in fact medieval.
And they're eating their lovely
And we're eating our that bread, that is peasant bread. So sometimes you get this expression from film and TV. Peasant
Alright, they're overcooking the salmon.
Of course, they're very physical life, so they must have actually consumed a reasonable number of calories. And good food is not even strange.
Well, people were also a lot smaller back then, too. There's a reason why you didn't grow to be super tall back in those days.
The staples for the average peasant working in the field would have been bread, beer and bacon.
Thank you.
Pig, and the pig has been quartered at the beginning of the winter. Because they have feed and slate it, smoke bits of it to make bacon.
Right.
In most medieval peasant houses, you have a pot hanging above the fireplace which is ready to make your bacon.
So they didn't waste even the smoke.
No, absolutely. I didn't waste anything either. They used bloods and things like black puddings, and they used the intestines, the sausage casings, so nothing would have been wasted.
Wonderful.
Could you possibly,
which one?
actually, you should probably put it on the bread.
Our forces are controlling the fight. Keep pushing.
That's fantastic.
We have a done sauce.
What do you want to do? Just put that in
So
there?
if you, yeah, you put it in there, and then you can use the squeeze it over the not very much salt, but it's a lot of salt.
Right, so I'll sort of, and this should go. There's actually quite a lot coming out. Much more than I thought it would be.
This is experimental archaeology. And we have here.
5'7" kings, yo, pretty much, man. Yeah, George Washington, for example, I think was considered a giant because he was over 6
Attack marked
foot.
objective.
So it was rare back then to be over 6 foot tall, like incredibly rare. You know, 5'7" was the average height, which is what Poland's height was.
yourself in a really expensive restaurant in London. Relatively quickly, we've prepared what actually looks like and very, very tasty meal. The salmon, we've got beef cockles, we've got bread. A lot of people think that peasants would have eaten while clothes and famine would have eaten whatever they had. But broadly speaking, this is the sort of thing that you would eat. I'm very impressed. It's delicious. Oh, absolutely delicious. In fact, more than that, because it's so simple. Sorrel has worked incredibly well. The beef cockles are absolutely magical. Obviously, this a lot of food goes into working in the field, doing things, shipping and carrying stuff, walking everywhere. It's very light-hearted. I imagine you could do a morning's work with this.
Well, this would actually be your midday meal. Eating in the middle ages, yours, you would have breakfast, which would be bread and hour. Then you would stop work and then you would go.
Beer and bread, bro.
Meal of the day. Which is quite important at this time of year because by the time you come in the evening, it's dark.
Right.
And again, you probably have something like bread and cheese or fucking head! So you eat your main meal of the day,
And then you don't have to go to work. Fill yourself up, fill with lovely food, rest a little bit, then go back out and do what you're doing.
We are moving on Objective Alpha.
Well, I have to say, if nothing else about food, it's very, very tasty, very, very filling. It's absolutely delightful.
Take what you can carry!
While I'm finishing this, absolutely lovely.
Yeah, compare that to.
Objective Charlie has been secured.
This shit's Roman food, dude. Like,
We need attack support
that
on the marked
stuff's like
objective.
super bland for the most part. They would just literally eat like grains.
Bravo has been neutralized.
Just literal slop, bro.
Hostiles now hold Alpha. We are moving on Objective Alpha.
May have had the luxury of adding more A-grade ingredients.
That's right, you could purchase a little bit of seasoning and put in there. It is porridge, that's what they used to eat. Because, like in ancient Rome, you would get a grain ration as a citizen. Especially if you were in the military, but yeah, you would essentially get a grain ration and you could either, you know, bake bread with it or remote.
We've taken Objective Alpha.
Attack support needed on the marked objective.
Most people did was just
Alright, our
make
forces are
porridge.
still winning. Good work.
Modern nutritionists have estimated
Alright, we've taken Objective Charlie.
for fast foods required of them. To put this into perspective, the average modern
So basically the Romans were top tier athletes.
800 grams per legionary, 75%.
Eyes on an enemy tank in your area.
The camp's prefect's main job was to secure the daily food for their legion. That was a large undertaking. Up to 6,000 kilos of grain per day was needed to supply the legion of around 7,000 individuals. In times of war, more troops were required, as need as much as 8,000 kilos per day.
Objective Charlie is now under our
Yeah, I
control.
mean, modern day MREs by comparison are, you know, a modern luxury compared to this shit. I mean, literally, they would just take grain, you would literally use your grindstone that you would have, like, attached to your back, and, you know, you would just add some water, boil it a little bit, add in a little bit of salt, maybe, if you had some, and there's your, porridge stop. But then they also drank a shit ton of wine, so.
Come on!
We're attacking Objective Bravo.
Well, this would have been a lot more rough than oatmeal, man. Oatmeal, by comparison, is probably a hell of a lot better.
I need a medic!
Warriors have to be at peak fit.
Would I play Galgun 2 on stream for $100? I'm being serious, sure.
Our attack on Bravo is underway.
Well, let's watch another one. See what this other most popular. How did medieval peasants light their homes? Well, that's pretty easy. It's okay. What did rich people eat? I'll watch this. Have I ever played Galgun 2? No, but I own it. I haven't played it.
Keep it going. We've secured Bravo.
The only one I've played is Galgun Double Piece.
We are looking at high status food. Duke, Earl, maybe not King, but very, very high status. Would it be food the country list?
It might well be, yes.
I know we also have totally different type of plates. The square plate. That seems kind of unusual, but what's that?
Attack the marked objective.
Basically, it represents your piece of bread that you had in earlier episodes.
Right.
Your piece of bread, because you are now so high status, has become a square pewter plate.
How
So you
interesting.
would
Wow.
probably still have trencher bread, but at this sort of level, it was considered bad form to eat bread.
Right, because the bread was a peasant food.
Am I surprised that you know about Galgun? Why would I be surprised about that? I thought it was pretty common knowledge amongst weebs.
Well, the bread was then reflected at the end of the meal as you bowl anything down to the creek.
So you charity as well. You have plenty of other food. We have goblet there and red wine.
And this is a red spice wine. Basically, it's medieval.
Yep, because only wealthy people.
Wine.
Fantastic. Would that be good?
This could be one more.
And we have bread, and this is represented by a little roll.
Yes, these are magic bread rolls, and this is from Richard bread. So this bread has melted butter in it.
I did not turn subtitles on.
As well as the flour, water, and yeast, which other bread would have.
Is it a modern bread that compare it to?
This bread, yes, very well, probably the favourite bread. Yes.
Why is there a custard tart on my plate as a view?
Well, because in fact, as we said before, you don't have horses, you have a remove, and this is part of the remove.
So is that a custard?
That is a custard tart. This is that beautiful golden yellow colour because it's coloured with saffron.
Saffron today is expensive. Will it be more expensive?
Saffron has always been more expensive than gold.
And
Yes.
back then it would be in that bright colour.
That's
Would be
crazy.
part of the display.
Yes.
And
Do you have a chicken? Eating chicken is something that we take for granted these days. Certainly in the post-war period, chicken has become a very, very popular food. It is basically the food of the masses.
Right.
In medieval times, actually eating a chicken was a very killing possible one of the lumps. You might eat chicken when it's got laid. You may eat a capon, which is a male chicken, a cockle, and just
Position
actually eat
needed
a
on the
laying
marked
bird.
objective.
So thus removing part of your subsidiary food.
No, chicken is not peasant food. That's a very common misconception. You would never kill your chicken unless it stopped laying eggs. Because the eggs were the
You have my back!
Was ridiculously extravagant.
so this is extremely extravagant. This is saying I don't need to worry about my supply of eggs.
Nowadays, it's like, dude, you buy chicken, it's not a big deal. But back then, chicken was like crazy.
They're so wealthy I can
Yes.
This is
This is venison.
venison, so meat from here.
Yes.
And then you hunted with it by meat, potentially,
Very,
following.
very like a hunting on their own land. The chase and the hunt was a very important part of noble social life in the Middle Ages.
So you hunt, that was part of the whole thing, and then you eat, you kill
Yes.
as well, which I suppose is a good thing.
It is, again, no part of it would be wasted. You would divide up the so the prime cuts would go to your ducal table, whereas the subsidiary cuts would be passed to people lower down, until the very lowly retainers in your house might get what are known as the umbles.
Umbles
As in,
being,
comes from the innards of the deer.
so the guts, and those wouldn't be used by the
They would have been chopped up and put in pie.
and you have got humble pie.
I
We
took
secured
it
all
on you and
positions. Let's keep it that way.
not to do
No
wrong
humble pie this time, fantastic. Now, there's a bowl of water here as well, and we were talking about not using the left hand and wiping your hand on the napkin. We've got a napkin here still. What's the bowl of water for?
Because when you enter the room or before you sit to eat, your hands would be washed.
You wash for you, so you hold.
Yeah, you would hold your hands over.
Something that doesn't even happen in certain countries in the Big 26.
Bowl and somebody would pour first into water over your hands to clean them, and you'd then be given towels
Rose
to dry them
water,
before you sat at
typically.
table.
And so there, that was still part of the thing, but you still really wouldn't use your left hand at all. So all of this stuff is fit for doing in the kitchen. So shall I try some of the venison?
Absolutely.
The venison is fried.
It's been pan-fried with spices, onions, and leeks.
A little bit of cedar, I'm worried about etiquette. It's ridiculous.
Let's move!
And passionate. Spices again. Are they the leeks as well? Are the spices similar to the stuff we've seen before?
Yes, they are.
There's a lot of meat there.
There is.
And shall I have some of the custard
Are you sure?
with it? Would that be? How would
That would be very medieval.
I cut in any particular?
No, you can just cut
Cut
it.
a piece off.
And again, I can take pity on you and make good pastry.
I'm with these hands because custard pie and venison go well together. I think they should sell these in shops. It's rather good. I like it.
Okay.
The spicy meat and the sweetness actually it's quite a good combination.
Yes, and the custard, that's actually, it's quite bland. It's not a flavoured custard.
Well, this is supposed to be the meal for like a duke, so this is like upper echelon food. You know, your average peasant would not be eating this.